Welcome to the Asking Why podcast. I'm your host, Clint Davis, and today we have a little bit of a different podcast. We have a local guy on who I'm going to let Wade tell you about himself because he's got a bunch of titles that I don't want to mess up. But we've had a lot of movement in Shreveport. Those that listen, we're from Shreveport, Louisiana, and people ask me all the time, like, why do I live in Shreveport and why do I stay here? And as a counseling practice, we've grown, and we're out in Benton and Bossier and Shreveport. And, I just get to see so many cool things that this city and the people of this city are trying to do. And so, man, I've just been looking at you on social media and seeing what you're doing. And, I love film and music. And so I just wanted to meet you, one. And then, part of doing a podcast is it's fun because I just get to talk to people I want to talk to. Mm-hmm. And, if other people listen, great. So, so thanks for coming on, Wade.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, tell us about Wade Marshall and what you do and who you are for Shreveport.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah.
Well, my current role now is I'm the Film and Entertainment Commissioner for the Northwest Louisiana region. And that follows under our tourist bureau, which is called Visit Shreveport Bossier.
Okay.
And so just kind of in a nutshell, what we do is, we're here for the sort of the front desk liaison when it comes to film and entertainment industries here. And let's say if there's even a film that actually does come here, we're there to support them when they are here and help them with all those kind of resources. And then, we're here to create new things and create new opportunities and look into the entertainment field as well and track with all those things that are happening as well.
So how'd you tell me, are you from here? How'd you get into all that stuff?
Yeah, I am from Shreveport. I went to Los Angeles actually for about 7 years. So I'm a centenary college graduate.
Okay.
And I graduated with a degree in music composition actually.
Oh, wow.
And so by trade in the film world, I'm actually a music composer.
Wow.
So I've done, and I still do that today. I've got some stuff out there, but, written music for film and television, video games, media, a lot of different things. But I went out there in the early 2000s, had some people that were from Shreveport that actually lived out there. And they said, hey, if you come out, after you graduate, we can help you get on some shows and this and that. So that's what I did and moved out there and, kind of just got the feel of Hollywood, and feel of how it, a real career in doing something like that would be. All those little, things and meeting people, meeting actual real composers out there and, filmmakers, all kinds of stuff. So really just kind of getting a feel for everything. Obviously I met some celebrities too, so that was fun. But
I bet.
Then we saw Hurricane Katrina happen. And Hurricane Katrina, during that time we were the only state to have a film tax incentive. And so they had all these productions down there that in New Orleans area that were taking advantage of these tax credits, but then they had to be displaced. So they had to find somewhere they could go, probably the farthest away from New Orleans, which we fall into that category.
That's right. I always think of that scene from The Princess and the Frog. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
He's like, y'all from Shreveport?
Uh-huh.
It's like, I'm from Alexandria, and my family would act like Shreveport was like 10 hours away.
Oh, yeah. And we get that a lot. When people want to call us Texans,
Yeah.
But, that's what happened. They came to Shreveport. They set up shop to continue to do, the film productions they were going to do. And then because of that, this crazy boom happened. We saw this stuff like happen almost overnight. All these companies coming in to support that kind of thing, new studios, and obviously Millennium Studios is one of those that came in. During that time, they were just called Millennium Films, and they didn't have a studio. And I got in with them early on before the studio was even built. So.
Oh, wow.
I was running their warehouse that had a bunch of movie props and stuff, and we kind of went from there. And then about 2000, I want to say it's 2017, somewhere around there. That's around when Bobby Jindal was in office, and there were some things done to our tax credits. And a lot of people think our tax credits went away, but it was more of just there was a cap put on it. So there was a roof on how much you could spend every year. And at the same time, we had all these other states come up with their own tax credits. They copied our homework, basically, and said, we like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So with that, things got a little slower here. Things, because things were getting spread out around the nation. And because of that, our film production kind of went down. Even though we're still doing it, it just wasn't on the higher budget. And then Millennium itself came to a point where, like, we can't have all this staff here and whatever. And so I ended up being the guy that was left there, just to kind of run the place and continue to pull in whatever we could. And so that's what happened. I took over as, the manager of the studio, and ran it for a number of years, and we still did production. We still were bringing in things. It wasn't as massive as it used to, but we were still doing it. And so fast forward to the city actually purchasing Millennium. Millennium finally said, we're out, and so that's when the city made a deal with them, and I became a city employee at that time. So
What year is this?
Oh, this was probably 4 years ago, something like that. Yeah. And
now, what is Moonbot, and how is that different than Millennium? Because Moonbot came in too, right?
Yeah, so Moonbot was during that time, but Moonbot was an animation studio.
Right.
Bill Joyce, started and come out of that and all that. So they were just a separate entity from us, though.
Okay.
But
it was kind of in the same boom when that was going on.
Yeah, it was on that same boom. But then when the city bought it, we had, if you've heard of Troubled Muse Studios,
Okay.
They were actually going to be the original tenant. It wasn't supposed to be Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, or G Unit, however you want to call it. But that turned into almost a year and nothing happened because they couldn't get some things put in place, and it was delaying a lot. So Curtis came in and ended up saying, "I'm going to get the studio," and at that time, I was our economic development department was kind of broken in half, and so we were all kind of floating around again, but they didn't want to keep me at the studio. So I actually ended up going and running Independence Stadium for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And so that was a interesting diversion from from everything I've done. It was a fun experience, but at the same time, I'll tell everybody I was out there on the field, like taking phone calls for the film industry and, just trying my best to get people here.
Yeah.
And so what I did, seeing where we're headed with Curtis and all of that. When I say Curtis, most of y'all, that's Curtis Jackson. If y'all don't know his real name, but 50 Cent, yeah. But anyway, so I went to visit Shreveport-Bossier, our tourist bureau, and I said, look, I think it's important with all this growth, and just where I've come from, that we start a film commission, like a real one that's an established one that's got a budget, one that's can, campaign the way it does, and all the things that entail in a film commission. And we talked for, a few months, and they talked with their board, and finally it happened. They were like, let's do it, and we moved forward. So we've had this film commission established since last October.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much where we're at. We've
Wow.
been building stuff this last year. We've worked on film production last year too, and then just tracking along with what 50 Cent and G Unit's doing.
Yeah. So where do you see that going this year? Kind of how do you see that benefit for people who are like, what is going on? Like, how is 50 Cent helping us? Like, where is this culture? Like, what do you envision? The kind of two parallel train tracks, it looks like.
Yeah, and I think people, that's the big question. A lot of people are asking, like, what's happening, because it seems like this was announced, almost 3 years ago, it seems. But this year is going to be the year that everything changes. If you've caught the news here recently, the state has just allocated $50 million towards his redevelopment projects that he's doing. And so that includes the studio itself, which is the old Millennium Studios that I'm mentioning, is going to be becoming G Unit Studios. The old Stageworks, which is another building we've used for film production, which is downtown as well. And then the construction of the G Dome, which is an interesting addition to all this. And what we understand this to be is almost like a Vegas-style dome, not that size, but something that's a comparable, in the same category with, LED
the quality.
Quality, and a venue that you can go in and see music and do other things in. So this money, how we understand it, is going directly into redevelopment of those properties, not into the film production itself. But the there are some, deliverables that they're asking, as this $50 million is released, and there, if you've watched some other news, our city council passed a nonprofit, I believe it's called like the Shreveport Film and Entertainment, corporation, however you want to call it, but they're going to handle how this fund is dispersed and also make sure those deliverables are met. And the deliverables are certain productions in certain budgets per year, and I think that's available online somewhere.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been in kind of the thick of all of that.
How
I mean,
I think, and even it's funny because every time there's a 50-cent story or something like that, my phone rings off the hook because everybody's just like, how do I get involved, and when's the next thing start,
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
You said you've been on more podcasts in the last little bit. Than
Yeah. I think people are eager for our town to be good, and I think we've made some great strides over the last years. I think one thing we're trying to remind people that we are a town full of creatives, for every genre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so many talented people have come out of this area, even back into history, obviously.
Yeah.
And we want to, remind people about the history of this town, but at the same time, make some new history.
Yeah. So how can you encourage people listening, kind of Shreveport people, Bossier people, what can they be doing? How can they be encouraging? I mean, for me, it's one, like, stop complaining and gossiping and maybe get involved. So what would you give them feedback to?
We do have a narrative problem here. I mean, I think we all know that it's hard, even with brand new things that could change the landscape. A lot of people are always going to, put it in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in our master plan at the Bureau, we actually call them cave people.
Oh, yeah.
And so a cave person is, a citizen against virtually everything.
Yeah.
And it's true, there, no matter what, there's going to be those people that find the bad in everything. And that's fine. It's going to happen around the world like that. But I think really we can only move forward if we start working together in this town, really just, all coming to the table. We see it time and time again. There's so many different pods of people that stay in their pod, but we want to bring everybody to the table.
Yeah,
and,
it's good, man.
I think that this is the year that community is going to be viable, really important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one reason why I wanted to have you come in, is just like, how can I be of service? Obviously we do a lot of mental health in Bossier, Benton, Shreveport. And so, I have all these business owners and that come in for counseling, and doctors and lawyers, and they're all wondering what's going on and what's happening. I mean, we have 100,000 people listening to the podcast around here and all over the culture. And I think, now we've made some national news with Shreveport, seeing what 50 Cent's doing, seeing that there's been $50 million given, and then going, what's this going to look like?
Right.
Our church is downtown, and so we talk about it all the time. What's that going to look like? And I hope that, as the nightlife stuff that he's bringing picks up, that brings other businesses in that can make more daytime services, and those things can work together for, different cultures, different people, but they have a pick of what they want to be involved in.
Right.
And I think the fear can be, they're starting all these clubs and it's going to be all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, there's some things about that make me nervous, but from a business standpoint and a financial standpoint, how can it be beneficial for the whole? How can what, he's doing be good for everybody? Yeah.
And, it's really interesting to see, what this all entails. If you really look at what's happening, there's been this, entertainment district that's been built, or at least classified, I should say, that encompasses most of the properties that he has purchased. And then, some of our own downtown properties that are available already. But, I agree with you. I think that a balanced offering of family and nightlife events, things for everyone, is really going to be the goal here. It's going to help us be the destination. We always hear at the Bureau, we don't want to be on the way to the destination.
That's right.
So
we're primed in such a great location and spot. I mean, people have to come through here for so many things, and it's like,
right.
if we could have a space where people stop in and drop in and get back to that, I mean, it'd be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I think we do have the potential to do this. It's going to take, again, the community support in this and saying, we're getting a golden ticket, really, of completely changing our city, you know, and having something brand new. It's a brand new car.
Yeah. So what else is going on in the development that you know about that's kind of downtown, like, those balance and family friendly kind of things? Is there anything that he's planning on bringing in with, or the $50 million is going towards?
Yeah, we don't have exact, ideas of it. There's been some things that have been released, and most of those have been nightclubs, right there, by the Red River District and things like that. But there's been talk of coffee shops and pizza places and things like that. So, he's a very, very smart businessman. If you ever get to meet Curtis, he's such a good businessman, very, very well versed in what he's doing. So I trust him fully on what he's going to execute out there. So
right. Yeah, he's not going into it to be stupid and blow money and spend money on the wrong things. He needs support. He needs the community support as much as anybody.
There's no way he got to where he's at right now without being a smart businessman. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good, man. Well, what any other thoughts about kind of what you're doing and what you hope for 2026?
Yeah, this year is really about awareness about our film industry.
Yeah.
And, we actually have another podcast we're doing with Susan Curtin over at KTAL.
Yeah, I was just on there this morning. Yeah.
And I love Susan to death, but we're doing a weekly spot with her and keeping people on the pulse.
Yeah.
And the main thing is I want people to understand who we are and how to get involved. A lot of people just think we're a bunch of starving artists. Maybe that's true in some days.
But I'm starving too, don't worry.
So, we're going to have a lot of opportunities for people to get plugged in. I don't know the date of this podcast when it's going to be released, but, we've got
Friday.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Film Prize kicks off this week.
Okay.
And there is they're doing that at the Remington Garage Thursday night. But again, it's an opportunity for everybody to be in the same room, that are filmmakers, and we invite people to come out and talk and stuff. And then beyond that, we are doing these film industry meetups every quarter.
Okay.
And our first one is February the 21st at Robinson Film Center at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And what that is, and we've we had a really good run of them last year, and it's basically the same thing. We get everybody that wants to be in the film industry or people that are already in the film industry to all show up. We talk about what's going on. We keep people up to date, and then we let everybody talk to each other like we used to, right? We live in such a world that everything's Zoom and digital and that
emails.
Just there's something different about being in a room with people. It's something we did last year in October. I'm on the board with Film Louisiana. And it's a bunch of stakeholders here in the state that are involved in film, and they did this sort of Cajun food party out in L.A. And we, for all the studio heads basically. But part of that is that we got to sit down with them outside of that party too. We went to Amazon and Warner Brothers and Disney and sat down with the main folks and said, hey, we're still open for business, and we would love to have you come down there, and a lot of them were so happy that we came in person.
That's awesome.
So we're just trying to be a little bit different than most.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's very much needed. I mean, we've had a lot of good films here. We have great locations. I mean, we have great culture for people to shoot stuff. I mean, Louisiana in general, but Shreveport, we have all this historical things. So, I definitely be praying for that and hope that we can see that stuff grow.
Yeah.
So how can the community support the film industry and the music industry more? One, come to these things. I'm assuming,
Correct.
you know, if you are into this kind of stuff, if you love film, if you love music and you want to be a part of it, come to it. But how else?
Well, this year we're actually launching a program called Real Scout, and what Real Scout is a program that most of every large film commission uses in the world. It's a database program, online portal, but the cool thing about it, we can ask the public, you know, if they want their house to be in a movie, if they want their car to be in a movie, if they have all these different things that, you know, we'll allow, you know, we'll be announcing that whenever we're ready to launch in a few weeks, but. You know, this is a way for them to, even if they don't want themselves to be in a movie or be involved, they can even do their properties or whatever. But again, you know, we have opportunities coming up this year for training and, you know, getting your kids even into the, you know, film world. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I think, you know.
What would that be like? What training is that for kids?
So one particular training is over at Robinson Film Center. They have teen summer camps that they do there, and then for younger kids too. But you know, where they teach kids about filmmaking.
Oh, that's cool.
From running cameras and doing every little thing. And they actually have a teen film council there that, you know, they meet and work on things, and they use them for, you know, other projects. We again are starting the Film Prize too, so we encourage people that want to learn to just get on set and be like a PA. That's all coming up now. You know, people are starting to film their films here, you know, soon. So.
All the local films. Yeah.
But
can you talk a little bit about the Film Prize, and what that is for people who don't know?
Yeah. So the Louisiana Film Prize is part of Prize Fest, which entails even more than film. It's music and food and all kinds of stuff, and comedy they've done. It's basically, in a nutshell, you submit a short film that was filmed in Louisiana or Shreveport. I think the highest prize is if you film in our area. You know, you can film Louisiana to be qualified, but I don't think it's the highest prize if you film right in Northwest Louisiana. But so you submit that film, and I believe you have to turn it in sometime mid-year, June, July is the, you know, due date, and they pick a top 20, and out of that top 20, you know, one is the winner, and then, you know, they have some other, you know, consolation prizes, but the number one winner for Louisiana Film Prize is $50,000.
Wow!
And that's the highest payout in the world for a short film competition, right here in Shreveport.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so
I didn't know that.
A lot of people come from out of state to come here to film. We've had people come here and move here because of Film Prize. So it's a good. It's a good thing that's for our community. I think the festival's in October.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you've never been, we welcome people to come out and enjoy the festival, see some films, see some music. You know, there's so much going on that weekend. So,
yeah,
you know, definitely get involved. But on that same vein, there's going to be people filming everywhere, all these little shorts and everything, and they need help, you know. And if you even just want to be a PA, you know, talk to us, and we can get you placed on one of these films just to help, you know, and you've already got a credit now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so if you're out there listening and your kids or you want to be a part of this kind of stuff, those films are starting now, and people can just reach out to you.
Yeah.
How do they get in contact with you?
So you can just get in contact with us at our at the Visit Shreveport Bossier, or just look up the Shreveport Bossier Film and Entertainment Commission. I know it's a long word, but
yeah, we'll put it in the show notes. Yeah.
You'll find us. I mean, we're pretty easy to find, but yeah, you can just contact us, and we can get you in touch with the Prize Foundation as well, and see if they have any openings that, you know, because they deal directly with the filmmakers themselves too. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, anything else? Any other thoughts? If you got, you know, I know you've been on a bunch of podcasts, but anything that this culture you want to talk about, or
I just think, you know, we're on the front lines of, well, I've said that last year, but I think we've passed those front lines of where we are as a, you know, a city. And this year, I think, is going to be a brand new landscape that all of us are going to go, what happened? I mean, in a good way. Yeah. But it's just, you know, there's going to be a lot of things that change overnight, you know. And
it's great.
Just,
we need it.
Yeah. You know, it's a domino effect, kind of what we saw with Katrina in the film industry that's going to happen with Curtis is that, once these studios and support are built, we're going to see this grow and grow and grow. Mm-hmm. And it's going to keep growing, and we're going to see other businesses come in and set up their thing, like a wardrobe or set decoration house, or somebody that's rents out lights. These different entities will come to town and set up shop. Then it just makes us more viable for a larger production. Mm-hmm. And we've already had, even this year, I'm scouting, and when I say scouting, I'm out there looking for locations for people and finding them resources to kind of be a car salesman for our area when they're poking around, saying I'd love to film here, And that, just for example, like we had a film reach out to us and said, I need a beachfront. I need to have a location that I'm standing on the beach somewhere. And of course, everybody's like, well, where do you find that in Shreveport, Bossier? But if you start thinking outside the box, there's places like Cypress Black Bayou that has a massive beachfront that's out there by the lake. And so some of those things you kind of have to think about, and that's what we send them. So we encourage everybody, I mentioned that Real Scout again, when you're walking around, you see something, you go, I need to send this as a location because I bet it's very unique to the area that you can double it. We've done New York downtown here. I mean, we've done. What's just funny is we've done Anchorage, Alaska. Really? When we were doing The Guardian.
Yeah.
So it's just.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Done Washington D.C. And
I remember that we were living in Bossier at the time.
Yeah,
and we were like down on Longleaf or something like that,
mm-hmm.
and they built the huge White House. And,
yeah,
that was wild.
And those are the days I can't wait to get back to, is seeing explosions and gunfire. Yeah. So it was fun. It's fun seeing cars being flipped right in front of you.
Yeah, I bet.
But I think we're headed towards this again with everything that we're building, and I'm excited for what's to come. And right now, again, we are scouting for numerous films that want to start in the spring and even into the summer. Even Brookshire's Arena has now opened their doors to us, saying, "Hey, you can use us for stage space if you need to." So everybody is like, reaching out right now about how can we help grow this. But for my entrepreneurial friends, if you have a business idea that could support this industry, this is the time to start thinking about it. Starting a business that's not here yet. To support that kind of thing. I'd be happy to give you my 2 cents on it if y'all want to call us up and we can talk about it. But
that's great, man. Yeah. I think that's super needed. I think there's a lot of people, like you said, who are, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's trying to help the community and also grow business and do it well, I think, I meet with a lot of people who are excited and who want to be a part of it. They just don't know what to do. And so that's part of having you on too, is like, man, call Wade, have a conversation. He can point you in the right direction. I think there's so many people working jobs they hate, mm-hmm. and from a mental health, spiritual standpoint, like they're miserable.
Right.
And my favorite thing to do, I do a lot of consulting and coaching now, not just counseling. I was trying to help people in businesses go, okay, hey, what's an exit strategy? What are you really passionate about that would be good for your family, good for you mentally and emotionally? You can go do that. Like we can do all kinds of things. We don't live in the 1990s or the 2000s where we're chained down to a certain thing.
Right.
So I would love for people, to jump on the innovation of what you're doing and what the film industry is doing. And if they're interested in that kind of stuff, I had a lot of friends. I went to Fuller Theological Seminary, which was in Pasadena, so in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I spent a couple years there. So got friends on both coasts that have been asking me about this stuff, and I'm like, come move to Shreveport and come start your own thing. And I think that's a really awesome opportunity.
One thing we're going to do this year, if I can get it all put together, we want to do a training about film financing and telling people you don't have to know anything about film to invest in these films. Mm-hmm. And so let's say if we had a film that needed, $500,000 or $1 million more to get going, we can reach out to these partners of ours, these investor partners, and say, hey, I've got an opportunity for you for this film to come. and talk about the tax credits. Talk about, look, if you put $1 million in, this is what you're getting back, and going over all that. There's a lot of stuff that people still don't know about all that,
That's
but
good
it's
to know.
another investment opportunity,
Yeah.
that's on paper,
Well, I think what I'd love is just us to stay connected and, closer to Film Prize, have you back and
Yeah.
talk about some of that
Sure.
and really and get people's eyes open to what they can do and how they can invest in it in detail.
Yeah.
I know for me, we're here. So as all this stuff goes on and as things move around, we have 25 counselors who are trained in, all the highest levels of counseling and coaching. And so if you need anything or you got people struggling or if you know people who are like, man, I'm doing this, but I'm really struggling with anxiety or fear over this,
Right.
or I want to start this business, but I'm terrified. Not everybody needs therapy, but people need good coaching and counsel to, get out of those situations. So we're here we're not going anywhere. We're here because we love Shreveport and Bossier, and I want to see all of us be healthier. And as all of us are healthier, we help everybody else. And I'm with you, man. For me as a Christian, it's like we're the body of Christ. We can do this thing in a particular way. But for anybody, if they're not a believer,
Right.
unity, connection, uplifting one another, it's just the way to do anything.
Yeah, I think that's, and some people probably hate how positive I am most of the time, but it's just, it's worked for me. Look, I'm twice divorced, got 2 beautiful kids. But I love where I'm at. I love that I finally have a voice that can change some people's lives, and I think and it's always been for me, to never be on a pedestal. So, we call our film crew the film family, and that's what we treat. We're all the same.
Yeah.
And I want everybody else to know that we're all the same. I'm just here because I was lucky enough to be the guy that sort of hung around and never gave up on this stuff. But, I want people to have some hope,
Yeah.
and
That's awesome, man.
we can continue to do that every day.
That's good, man. That's a good word. Yeah. Well, I'm thankful for you. Really, being a person who's hung around, who's from Shreveport and who is trying to grow the city and trying to do good things that benefits everybody. And so for the naysayers, man, the people who are like, what are we doing? I just encourage you, any support I can give you, friend wise, relationship wise, direction wise, we're here, I'm here, because this is a season where I think, 2026, we're coming after COVID, we're coming after all of this stuff. And I think we're finally all kind of peaking up and going, I think we can do this. I think we can turn Shreveport around. And for our Bossier folks, a better Shreveport's a better Bossier and vice versa. And so I think everybody, all rising tides raise all ships,
Yeah. And I think we have the best momentum ever for that to happen this year.
Yeah. Good, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Wade, thanks for coming on and
Anytime.
and having a chat with me about just hope and encouragement and that things are going up. I think people need that at the beginning of this year. I think coming off of Christmas and the high of all those kind of things, or the drama of all those things, people need some encouragement. So thanks for taking the time to do it. I'm going to put all this in the show notes, and you guys can reach out to Wade and his team and their people. And I would just ask people to be praying and to be encouraging and uplifting about what's going on. Ask good questions, obviously. But let's have a better Shreveport.